all here, Varun, Professor Sas Buddhe, and the distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. I have been, I have this unenvious task of speaking after Varun, an entrepreneur, Mr. Amitabh Kant, the world-known planner of the country, Professor Sahas Buddhe. They have spoken a lot, and I don't know how to where to begin because everything has been talked about. When Varun spoke about that he wants to organize a conference where he would like NSDC to partner, it struck me that until a year ago, we would have felt lost. Why is NSDC in this forum, the future of global education? Thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister, the National Education Policy 2020, which Professor Sahasra Buddhe and Mr. Amitabh Kant talked a lot about, laid a vision for India. And if you look back a few years, we find that a lot was changing around us. Greta Thunbergs of the world were pointing us towards climate change. The geopolitical situation was changing around us. And then the pandemic happened. And when the pandemic happened, all of us were confined to our homes. Our habits changed. All of us learned a lot of new skills. And at the same time, the national education policy was being rolled out, which talked about that skills are integral to education. Because education system can provide cognitive skills, but students need a range of skills which they need to deploy, be they critical thinking and problem solving and high levels of skills to social skills of working in a team, emotional skills to deal with a uncertain situation. And unless education and skills go hand in hand, we will not be developing our future, which can respond to the opportunity that this changing geopolitical situation has presented to India. With that, the vision of NSDC also started changing. From transforming the skill landscape, we started thinking about skills for all, anytime, anywhere. We all need skills at various points of time in our lives. And our skill needs change a lot. Be they students in school or in higher education or at the workplace. Our needs for continuous evolution keeps presenting us with challenges. And with this thought, National Skill Development Corporation would like to work with organizations like Dynamic, who are trying to redefine the education in a global context. Varun talked about that. Let's have conversation. These conversations are important from the perspective that through the distinguished guests here, the entire young India would like to hear us that what is in store for them, which will make them successful individuals in their lives. And this whole dynamics of digitalization and technology that both Professor Sahas Buddhe and Mr. Amitabh Kant talked about, a tremendous opportunity has emerged to all of us. And keeping that in view, the National Skill Development Corporation is entering into partnerships with the educational institutions of the good, both in India and abroad, because the world of education and the world of work can only be bridged through the world of skills. And Professor Sahasbuddhe was talking about that countries like even Finland are now marveling at India, the kind of policy changes that education system is bringing about. We are talking about a credit framework, academic bank of credit, which we heard only a year back. But the regulators of both skill and education are coming out with a path-breaking credit framework, which will allow the credits to be accumulated not only in the educational place, but also while a person is acquiring skills at a training institute. And even the experiential learning, the experience that a person acquires at the workplace is also being giving weightage. I can assure you that the kind of system that the regulators of education and skill are bringing forward to youngsters in this country will definitely be looked back 5 years down the line as the most path-breaking decision that this country took. And keeping that in view, this whole dialogue of the future of global education has to be about the global outlook that we can impart to our young generation. It's not only about going to a particular university, or it's also about living in a context which is not your context. And when you go abroad, or when you acquire a newer skill, you are actually being exposed to something which your life in future is challenging you. And that is why National Skill Development Corporation would like to work actively with educational institutions. This whole the global context that we are talking about is also presenting an opportunity for skilled professionals in India as never before. NSDC has started a company, NSDC International, which is working on providing overseas employment opportunities to skilled professionals in this country. The idea again emanated from our Honorable Prime Minister's vision several years back when he launched National Skill Mission, where the mission talked about making India a skill capital of the world. And now, when we go abroad and when we meet the employers and we meet the institutions abroad, what we find that India is in demand, both because of our very young demography, but also because the whole world is realizing that India is onto something which is unprecedented. While we are aware of some growth stories in a particular political and administrative context, a large democracy like India, with its huge diversity, attempting to become the leader of the world is unprecedented. And that is the kind of opportunity, that is the future of global education that we have to talk about. That India has to acquire its place under the sun 10 years down the line, the decade that Mr. Amitabh Kant talk about is actually going to be the decade of India. And that is the future of global education that we have to think about, and skills would definitely partner the educational institutions here. I welcome you all to this dialogue, and let's take this conversation forward. Thank you so much.